guys, we're back with EAK TV. We have Rahul Sood here, the CEO of Unikrn. Rahul, how are you finding Delta Summit so far?
It's pretty interesting. There's a lot of, there's a ton of people here. So yeah, I've been coming to Malta for years now, and I think this is one of the biggest conferences I've seen in this space. Yeah, or the biggest, I should say. It's pretty big. Yeah,
absolutely. So, why, in your opinion, is blockchain suited to disrupt esports?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go out and say blockchain is suited to disrupt esports. I would say that, you know, my business is a wagering business, and we're the only wagering company on the planet who's fully built on blockchain. Number one. Number two is we've been working on our license, which would allow us to allow customers to bet with fiat currency and cryptocurrency across multiple countries, like over 20 countries. And you know, the reason blockchain works for us is in our industry it's all about transparency and you know, and trust, and things like AML and KYC matter, and there's no better way to track it than through blockchain. And the platform that we built, we've solved a bunch of problems. Like the biggest problem we solved is the transaction time on blockchain. You know, normally it takes anywhere from, I don't know, 30 seconds to 30 minutes for a transaction, but when you're placing a live bet, it has to be instant. So our platform actually allows 9,000 transactions per second. Yeah, I mean, like we're building a pretty incredible platform at the moment, and we have a major launch coming up in October. So yeah.
Which leads me on to my next question. Do you have any latest news that you can share with your community on Unikrn?
Well, I mean, the best thing I can share with you is I'm speaking, you know, downstairs at 12:30, and we're going to have a bit of an announcement there. You know, as the CEO of Unikrn, there's a couple of things that I'm working on. One is the Unikrn platform and the rollout of Unikrn globally in terms of our betting, regulated betting platform. And then on top of that, I'm working with Palladium, which is a bank that does full financial services with fiat and crypto, and also a security token exchange with Bittrex. So you know, there's a few different things that I'm working on, but basically it's all about making cryptocurrency more accessible to consumers, and you know, making blockchain more mainstream for the areas that we care about.
So you mentioned that you're working on rolling Unikrn out globally. Is there any markets that you're targeting to begin with, or is there a plan there in place?
Well, at the moment, we have a license in Malta for, you know, fiat betting currently, but we're in the midst of acquiring a license that I can't really talk about yet, but it is a license that allows us to do fiat and crypto, and we're the only company in the world that's going to get approved for this in the near future. Like, nobody has been able to pass the audits that's required in order to get to this stage. So not only have we passed technically, but we've already passed the audits for, you know, how we handled our token sale and things like that. You know, I'll tell you, blockchain is the future of commerce. It's going to be the future of regulated wagering. Any type of regulated business on blockchain is really the future. That's all there is to it. So either banks start getting on board now, or they're going to be left in the dust later. The whole reason we built on blockchain was because it was very difficult to deal with banks. So yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of comparisons right now between blockchain and the dot-com boom. Which do you think would have the bigger impact on society?
Well, it's a very loaded question, you know, given that I'm big in the dot-com era as well as the blockchain space. But you know, I'll just say this. I'll say, when I think about Bitcoin and the trajectory of Bitcoin and where it's been and where it's going, it's, you know, there's only 21 million of them in the world. There's no doubt in my mind that Bitcoin is only going to go up, and there's no doubt in my mind that blockchain is the underpinning of commerce, insurance, healthcare, so many different areas. You know, any type of wagering, transactions, that sort of thing. Building on blockchain makes our jobs much easier. So, you know, like, we work with regulators every day, and a regulator's job is to protect consumers. And one of the things that they do is they want to make sure that we offer full betting history for customers and things like that, and they can easily audit what we're doing. there's no better way to do that than through blockchain. So yeah.
So from your experience working in the industry, what would you say are the biggest challenges you faced as a blockchain startup?
The biggest challenge is banking. Dealing with banks is an absolute nightmare. It's actually a joke. I mean, I've been coming to Malta for, I don't know, 4 years, or so. I mean, try opening a bank in Malta, like a bank account. You just can't do it. It is ridiculous, and it's so bad that Malta is like the blockchain island. It's a place where everybody's coming to set up a company and build on blockchain, but the banks aren't there yet, and so that's one of the reasons that I'm doing Palladium with Bittrex, because we believe in the future of this space, and we just think the banks aren't ready. Like quite honestly, technically, banks don't get it yet, and hiring people who are technically proficient to be able to build security and custody and wallets and things like that is probably very hard for a bank to do, because, I mean, who wants to work at an old bank, right? I don't know, like I wouldn't. I mean, when I think about Wells Fargo, for example, their logo is a stagecoach and a horse. Like, who would want to work at Wells Fargo coming out of university right now building blockchain systems? I wouldn't. So I don't know. I think banks are in trouble if they don't figure out a way to embrace this space, either by partnering with companies like Palladium and Bittrex, or trying to build it themselves, which I just don't think they can. So yeah.
I mean, just mentioning that point about graduating from university, do you have any tips for any budding technologists wishing to start out in the space?
In what space specifically? Like blockchain in general? I mean, I don't think blockchain is a space as much as like, what do you care about? Like if you care about things like esports, like what we're doing, come work for the greatest esports company in the world. That's Unikrn. And we happen to be in regulated wagering, which is an ideal home for blockchain. People are trying to shoehorn blockchain into everything in weird ways, and it doesn't make sense to do that. What really makes sense is find something you care about, and if it makes sense to build a component of it on blockchain, go do it. I can tell you there's a high demand for very talented developers in this space, and it's hard to hire great people unless you're a really compelling company that people care about. So. Yeah.
Okay, and finally, Rahul, how do you see the blockchain landscape developing over the next few years?
I think regulation is kind of where things are going. Last year, the year of the ICO, was a bit of a mess. Everyone was doing an ICO. They were basically selling securities without even knowing they're selling securities. There was too many scams. I'll tell you this. Out of, say, the 2,000 coins that were created last year, just throwing a number out there, say 2,000 coins, 98% of them, 97% of them are absolute garbage, right? So companies like ours, who built our token in 2015, we're sitting underneath a pile of trash, essentially. But over time, that's all going to get worked out. And the trash will disappear. People will start to put more emphasis on regulation and licenses and how you're building a business and credibility. And the value is going to be seen. Like, for example, Coinbase raising it an $8 billion valuation wasn't by accident. I mean, Coinbase is set up as a money transmitter, a money services business all across the U.S. That stuff is not easy to do. And getting licenses, like in wagering in our business, getting a license that allows us to run crypto and fiat in 20 countries isn't a cheap process. I mean, it literally took us years to build this and get to this point. So there's huge value in it, and I think to answer your question, I think what we'll see a bunch of companies blow up from last year, but a bunch of really, really great future Amazons and Microsofts and that sort of thing built starting now. So they're going to come out from underneath this pile of rubble, but they are going to show up. You'll see it soon.
Okay, guys, that's EAK TV. That's Rahul Sood, the CEO of Unikrn. Thanks for your time today.